Committee observations. The committee observes that since the Uganda Health Professionals Board is merging the two bodies, the Uganda Allied Health Examinations Board and the Uganda Nurses and Midwifery Examinations Board, specifying the two deputies is necessary. The committee further observes that the Deputy Executive Secretary of TVET, Development and Management of Curricula, under the Uganda Vocational and Technical Assessment Board should be added as the role of finance and administration to ensure that the function of the finance and administration is effectively handled. Recommendation. Clause 92 of the bill be amended to specify the two executive secretaries, deputy executive secretaries of the Uganda Health Professionals Board and add the role of finance and administration to the deputy executive director in charge of TVET development and management of curricula. 4.12 is transitional provisions in the bill. Clause 126 of the bill provides for transition applicable to the TVET Assessment Board. Clause 126.5 of the bill provides that staff in employment of the Uganda Allied Health Examinations Board and the Uganda Nurses and Midwifery Examinations Board in existence immediately before the commencement of the Act, other than the board members, shall be merged and continue in the employment of the Health Professionals Assessment Board as the Minister may determine and subject to the availability of vacancies. Clause 128.2 of the bill provides that the Uganda Vocational and Technical Assessment Board may, on the effective date of its operations, accept into its employment a person who, immediately before the commencement of this Act, was an employee of the Directorate of Industrial Training on permanent and pensionable terms and who was given an option to serve by the board and be opted to serve as an employee of the board subject to the availability of vacancies. Committee observations. The committee observes that Clause 126.5 leaves the transition of the staff of the two bodies to the determination of the minister and subject to availability of positions. This will render some staff unemployed and is thus unfair, and the committee further observes that the provision in Clause 128.2 requires the board to give a staff member the option to serve, which is also unfair. Recommendation. The committee recommends that Clause 126 be amended to provide that staff in employment of the Uganda Health Examinations Board and the Uganda Nurses and Midwifery Examinations Boards should continue in employment in the Uganda Health Professionals Assessment Board. And B, Clause 128 be amended to provide that the employee of the Directorate of Industrial Training is the one to give an option on whether he or she wants to serve on the board or not. 4.13, Management Training and Advisory Center, MTAC. Clause 121 of the bill repeals the Management Training and Advisory Center Act, CAP 253. The committee interacted with and received written recommendations or memoranda from the Management Training and Advisory Center, MTAC, who submitted that the bill sought to repeal a non-existent law, as the MTAC law was repealed by the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act of 2001. MTAC attached a legal opinion to this written submission dated 19 September 2014 from the Solicitor General that stated that the MTAC law was repealed by the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act 2001. The legal opinion further stated that the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, Register of Public and Private Tertiary Institutions, Legal Notice number 14 of 2008, lists Management Training and Advisory Center as a public tertiary institution under Part B. The Ministry of Education and Sports stated that following the government policy of rationalization of government agencies, commissions, authorities, and public expenditure, and Cabinet Memoranda CT 2018-128, it was decided that MTAC would be merged with Nakawa Vocational Training Institute. And furthermore, the Minister of Education and Sports stated that prior meetings were held with MTAC on the bill and were therefore informed about the merger with the Nakawa National Training Institute and the repeal of the MTAC law. In a meeting with the committee, MTAC indicated that the dissolution of the MTAC has far-reaching implications as argued below. One, the dissolution of MTAC will undermine the execution of the projects that informed the establishment of MTAC. B, dissolution of MTAC will significantly undermine the implementation of the micro, small, and medium enterprises policy. C, dissolution of MTAC will erode the relevance of MTAC in the region. D, dissolution of MTAC will suffocate the growth of MTAC business incubators already established in Ntungamo and Mbale. E, a dissolution of MTAC will significantly undermine the implementation of the National Development Plan, the Uganda Vision 2040, and the Africa Agenda 2063. Committee observations. The committee observes that MTAC law was not repealed by the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act 2001 as is and is still in force. The committee observes that the matter of rationalization of MTAC was approved by Cabinet under Cabinet Memoranda CT 2018-128. Recommendation. The committee recommendations, the provision of the bill in regard to Management and Advisory Center, MTAC, should be maintained in the bill. Conclusion. The committee understands the pertinent need to regularize and promote the TVET sector, and the committee's interaction with the various stakeholders depicts their readiness of rationalization, which is necessary to make the TVET sector better, and the committee recommends that the Parliament adopts the committee report and passes the bill subject to the proposed amendments. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
The floor is open for limited debate. Yes, procedure.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this is the Parliament of Records. And we have a challenge now. Our clerks that process these reports, some of these good reports, with the few changes that have come, they now have a location somewhere here. They cannot increase the volume of the TV because the moment it's increased, it brings the echo. So, and they can't follow properly. Wouldn't it be procedure right through your office, Right Honourable Speaker, so that the Commission now plans for them for a fully-fledged secretariat so that they are placed there, but with an equipment that can enable them to follow and really capture the records as they have been doing, Right Honourable.
Thank you. The records are captured on the Hansard. They do not have the Hansards with them. This, what is on that, on this microphone and that one and whichever is what is captured on the Hansard. And if it is not captured, we shall still give them the report. I know you're missing those girls here, but yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm seeking clarification actually from the Honorable Minister and the Chair of the committee. Yes, I understand we are rationalizing all these councils, but then we have National Council of Higher Education, the teachers' bill that we were to debate, though we have not debated, is also creating a council. Now we are also creating a council with a board and a committee.
I don't want you to mix two bills, these two bills.
Okay.
Leave the teachers' bill alone.
Okay, let me look
That's
at
why we are not handling it.
Okay.
Let's discuss about this TVET.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, my clarification is, can't we have one secretariat to handle the National Council of Higher Education and then TVET Council, instead of having an executive director for this, and then we also have an executive director for the other one that is already existing, and others that they maintain to create. And yet we have been saying we should rationalize. When we were rationalizing the agencies under the agricultural sector, we said we should have one entity to regulate all of them. But now we are having 3 entities to actually deal with one sector. So I'm seeking clarification from the Honourable Minister and the Chair of the committee.
Honorable Minister, there needs a clarification.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, when you look at all these commissions, all these agencies, they have completely different functions, and they serve a completely different service. So putting all of them together is going to create us more problems. I submit.
Just like when we rationalized the cotton, all those in agriculture, each of them had a directory. So that's what the minister is saying. Yes, Kazo?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, while I listened and heard from the Minister on the issues of performing different roles, in the spirit of rationalization and centralizing power, because this argument came about, Right Honourable Speaker, when we were doing rationalization, that the institutions should be controlled in one place and have small officers who would be deployed. So to avoid also the duplication and overlapping roles and ambiguity in command, I think as we make this law and the subsequent laws, it would make sense that such institutions that share, because they all share what they are doing, apart from that this is maybe primary, secondary, tertiary, nurses, it would make sense that we have one accounting officer in that perspective, and the rest either principals but reporting to one accounting officer. Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes, John?
Right.
Okay.
Right Honourable Speaker, we may want to get some help in understanding which of these entities you're talking about merging. Because when we say we want all of them together, if you help us and tell us this council should be merged, it may be easier for us to explain why they are separate. But when we don't know what we are talking about merging, it's a bit difficult.
Yes, John?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to give information to my colleagues. Honorable Kimosho, through the Speaker. I want to give you information that if you look at the intent of this bill, it's trying to address the challenges that we have been facing in the work, and especially with TVET providers and TVET skills development. Now, the TVET delivery has been fragmented, and if you look at the functions of the National Council of Higher Education, will definitely be very different from the functions of the TVET Council that is going to play. So, putting those things together, it is going to create a very, very big challenge in management, development, and application of the skills that we need to get from the trainees.
Jacob?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to supplement to a colleague, the other aspect of it is that the two should be different, just because the National Curriculum Development Center setup has technocrats who have a different orientation from the artisan skills. And the way the National Council, the National Curriculum Development Center is actually is more of academic than these skills that we are trying to bring up from our population down there. And so because of the difference in the skills, that's why the committee is saying, let this be different, since the other one is more of academic, and then this can be modeled and nurtured in their own way. Thank you.
Dr. Boka.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the chair and the members of the committee for the report. I rise to support the report, but with some observations and areas for clarification. Area number one is in the TVET qualifications framework vis-a-vis a curriculum. Do the two mean the same or they are different things? Two is there's a mention of formal and informal training. There are a number of entities, including civil society organizations, that are involved in training of young people in vocational skills and technical skills. What will be the eligibility criteria for the informal training institutes? And last is in the area of certification, and in the certification within the context of the sub-regional presidential youth skilling centers that have been set up courtesy of the president across the country, where there is no minimum academic requirement for entry. When it comes to certification of the skills, I would like the Minister of Education to guide the nation on how are these going to be certified to meet the basic standards and minimum requirements that makes them eligible to be certified. Thank you.
Thank you. Max? Yes.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I think we still had an issue to deal with. And the Honorable Attorney General had asked which institutions we think can be merged. Our argument is there's National Council of Higher Education. Now we are creating a council for technical institutions. Yes, they have said the teachers we should not discuss, but chances are that we are also going to have a council for teachers. Those are three councils under one sector. Yet a few months ago, even a month ago,
why are you legislating in anticipation?
Okay, let me not include teachers. Let me deal with the technical institution that we're dealing with now, and the higher institution, the Council for Higher Institution that is already in existence. Madam Speaker, these are two councils that already need technical heads. Here we are creating an executive head. We already have an executive head for National Council of Higher Education, and they are all under one sector. And we've just been discussing rationalization and saying that in any sector, if we can have leadership under one umbrella, it does not matter whether they have different capabilities, but as long as leadership is concentrated under one institution. So my argument still is we need to first clarify that before we move to the actual bill, the technicalities of the bill.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I am reinforcing his point, Right Honorable. In the Ministry of Works, and I'm also referring to the information given to me by my honorable colleague, Honorable
John
Twesige. He is saying that there are different functions to this effect. You have a chief engineer, and this chief engineer is reported to by all the engineers in the
It's called engineer
in chief. Is reported to, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, is reported to by all manner and sorts of engineers in that sector, from mechanical, electronic, even those that deal with planes, they all report to an engineer. What takes precedent here is that he understands the basics of engineering, and he can be able to preside over the overarching issues of the sector. And this is in the spirit, and having understood the spirit of rationalization, we are helping the ministers not to come back here for another rationalization on the same matter that we can prevent now. Thank you very much.
Shadow. Honorable Sewongo.
Madam Speaker, I was following the honorable member, Honorable Semujuzi neighbor with their own fund here around sometimes. But you see, this bill, I would pray, Madam Speaker, if we do go for the debate of the report, then when you go to the real bill, you will be looking at those clauses that you want to amend. Because we are mixing. Already the Ministry of Education has one accounting officer. That's the permanent secretary. And he's only accounting officer, Ministry of Education. Others have votes and others, but they're still under Ministry of Education. But if we go to the real report, and then we, after close by close, we shall look at those particular areas.
Motion.
Because we are not the
So
ones.
you move a motion.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
the motion is moved by my brother the minister. So I would pray if we could go for the debate, and after the debate, all these things will be looked at within the bill.
Honorable members, yes, Max.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I listened to the presentation and I realized that the presentation focused largely on the bill and took for granted the certificate of financial implications. Our rules of procedure and as well as the Public Financial Management Act provides...
Why do you say it took for granted a certificate of financial implication?
I mean
because when he was laying the minutes, he said, I'm laying the minutes together with the certificate of financial implication. So did you look at the certificate? Did you get the defect in the certificate?
I expected the report to interrogate the certificate of financial implication because subsection 2 of section 118 of our rules of procedure requires us mandatorily to find out whether the bill has got positive or harmful effect on the economy. That's subsection 3. While subsection 2 requires us that we ensure that the certificate of financial implications provides a medium-term estimate, not only revenue, but expenditure as well. And in total, it should actually guide us whether the bill in question or under consideration is harmful or beneficial. Unfortunately, I did not hear that.
You know, if it is not reported that there was a defect, then the presumption is that it was sufficient.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, whereas the Honorable Seungu had given a view that we go to the stages. Oh, okay, fine. In that case, I want to raise a clarification still on the same issue. It seemed to be pointing to two directions. Like the argument that why don't we have only National Council of Higher Education? The question here will be that are all technical schools under the category of higher education? Are there no technical schools that provide, certificate? Because for me, yes, for me, my understanding is that when we talk about Council of Higher Education, it regulates institutions that provide from diploma level to university.
We even have these skilling,
yes, yes,
skilling centers.
Yes, Madam
where
Speaker.
Informal.
Yes.
Where you get somebody that's not even gone up to P7.
Yes,
and
Madam.
The person is.
Yes, Madam Speaker. So I think the argument and the push by members that we should leave the whole thing to National Council of Higher Education. For me as an individual, I don't support it. Because not all these technical institutions are categorized under what? Education, higher education. Though one will argue that for others, maybe where they were saying the issue to do with the provision of basically issues to do with the national curriculum, education areas, one will say, okay, why don't we also second people with technical skills? But still, that one may not help us. I think the basic will be for us to separate this, have the what? Have the technical, vocational, and education and training council on its own, and the other one of higher education should also deal with a different one. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Lillian?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm a committee member. I just wanted to give information from the issues that were being, where they wanted clarification on. Right Honorable Speaker, this bill actually merges a number of entities that had different accounting officers. In this bill, the Uganda Nurses Examination Board is being merged here. The Directorate of Industrial Training is being merged here. The assessment body for the allied, that section of the paramedics and all that is being merged here. So all of them will be under this one council. Actually, there are almost 4 entities that had different accounting officers, which will be merged here. And there will be one executive officer who will be supervised by this council. So let us not look at it that it is standalone. We're actually merging many things into one. This council will be the body to oversee it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas it is good to bring these institutions together, my attention has been drawn to the TVET delivery, which remains underfunded, and it is mentioned so in the bill. Right Honorable Speaker, with the high unemployment in this country, government should actually focus on promoting technical vocational training in this country. However, Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at 109, and of course considering that this vocational training is actually expensive, and Right Honorable Speaker, I at some point placed on your table a motion so that we can discuss and ensure that government funds not just the diploma TVET sciences courses, but also the certificate courses. Now, when you look at section 109, Right Honorable Speaker, this section proposes to establish a skills development fund. And Right Honorable Speaker, I have had no problem with this fund. But considering that we are here rationalizing the Uganda Road Fund, and yet all these other things that government is planning, even this vocational training.
What is the relationship between Uganda Road Fund and the skill development?
Right Honorable Speaker, what I am trying to state is that under this, there is supposed to be established a skills development fund. And this fund will be financed by monies appropriated by Parliament, a levy on gross annual revenue of the TVET provider, and other funds that are listed here. So, Right Honorable Speaker, the point I am trying to bring is that we have the Higher Education Students Financing Board. And this Higher Education Students Financing Board has not only been funding students that qualify to go to universities, but also...
Chair. Thank you very much, Honorable Saro Pendi. I would like to give information.
Can I complete? I've not allowed you. Because it is...
No, I have allowed him.
Right Honorable Speaker.